En la clase de hoy vamos a aprender inglés de una manera sencilla y divertida. Vamos a escuchar y leer 4 historias diferentes en inglés. La idea es que te vayas familiarizando con el idioma, escuchando y leyendo todo en inglés. Todas las palabras que no entiendas, escríbelas en tu cuaderno para posteriormente traducirlas. Verás que si eres constante con este método, verás grandes resultados. Sin nada más que decir, comencemos.
In a remote corner of Africa, in a vast golden savanna, lived a white lion named Shiro. Shiro was not an ordinary lion. His snow-white fur and bright blue eyes made him stand out among all the others. But what truly made him special was his ability to grant wishes. Legend had it that those who found Shiro and proved to have a pure heart could ask him for a wish, and he would grant it. Shiro's story had been passed down from generation to generation, and many had tried to find him, but few had succeeded. One day, a young woman named Amina decided to embark on the search. Amina lived in a small village on the edge of the savannah and had heard the stories of Shiro since she was a child. Her mother was gravely ill, and Amina believed that only the white lion could save her. Amina prepared for her journey with determination. She carried only the essentials: water, food, and a small wooden figure her mother had given her as a good luck charm. With her heart full of hope, she ventured into the savannah, following the clues she had gathered from the elders of her village. The journey was long and arduous. Amina faced many challenges: the scorching heat of the day, the intense cold of the night, and the dangers of predators. But her love for her mother and her desire to save her gave her the strength to continue. After several days of travel, Amina reached a clearing in the savannah where Shiro was said to appear. She waited patiently, watching the horizon. Just as the sun began to set, she saw a majestic figure approaching. It was Shiro, the white lion. Amina felt a mix of fear and awe as she saw him. Bravely, she approached him, and with a trembling voice told him about her mother and her wish for her recovery. Shiro looked at her with his deep blue eyes and, after a moment of silence, nodded. "Your heart is pure, Amina. I will grant your wish," he said, in a voice that echoed across the savannah. With a soft roar, Shiro closed his eyes, and a bright light enveloped Amina. When the light faded, Shiro had disappeared. Amina returned to her village with her heart full of hope. Upon arriving, she found her mother awake and smiling. The illness had vanished, and her mother was completely recovered. Amina hugged her mother with tears of joy, knowing that the white lion had fulfilled her wish. The news of the miracle quickly spread through the village and beyond. Many people came to seek Amina, hoping she could guide them to Shiro. But Amina knew that the white lion only appeared to those with pure hearts and sincere wishes. She told them her story and reminded them of the importance of purity of heart. Over time, Amina became a respected figure in her community. She helped those in need and shared her wisdom with all who sought her. The story of Shiro, the white lion, became a legend that inspired many to live with kindness and sincerity. Years later, when Amina was an old woman, she decided to make one last journey to the savannah. She wanted to thank Shiro for the miracle that had changed her life. Upon reaching the clearing where she had first found him, she sat and waited. Just as the sun began to set, she saw a majestic figure approaching. It was Shiro, as majestic as ever. Amina smiled and, with a soft voice, thanked him for everything. Shiro looked at her with his blue eyes and nodded. "Your life has been an example of kindness and love, Amina. "I will grant you one last wish," he said. Amina, with tears in her eyes, wished for her community to always live in peace and harmony. With a soft roar, Shiro closed his eyes, and a bright light enveloped Amina. When the light faded, Amina was gone, but her spirit remained in the savannah, protecting her community. The legend of Shiro and Amina was passed down from generation to generation, reminding everyone of the importance of purity of heart and kindness. In a distant kingdom, surrounded by mountains and crystal-clear rivers, lived a king named Alaric. Alaric was not an ordinary king. He was known for his kindness and justice. From a young age, he had been educated in the values of empathy and respect, and when he ascended to the throne, he decided to rule with his heart. Alaric's kingdom, called Harmony, was a prosperous and peaceful place. The inhabitants lived in harmony, and the land flourished under the king's leadership. Alaric cared deeply for his people and always sought ways to improve their lives. Every week, he held public audiences where any citizen could present their problems and concerns. Alaric listened attentively and took action to resolve each situation. One day, during one of these audiences, a young woman named Elena appeared before the king. Elena was a peasant living in a remote village and had traveled many days to reach the castle. With tears in her eyes, she told Alaric about the drought affecting her village and how their crops were dying. Without hesitation, Alaric promised to help her. The king summoned his best engineers, and together they designed an irrigation system that would bring water from the nearest river to Elena's village. Within a few weeks, the system was operational, and the village's fields began to flourish again. Elena and her neighbors were grateful and celebrated with a grand feast in honor of the king. The fame of Alaric's kindness spread beyond the kingdom's borders. One day, an emissary from a neighboring kingdom arrived at the castle with an urgent request. His kingdom was being devastated by a plague, and they did not know how to stop it. Alaric, moved by compassion, sent his best doctors and healers to help. They worked tirelessly and eventually managed to control the plague, saving many lives. King Alaric was also known for his love of education. He firmly believed that knowledge was the key to a better future. Therefore, he founded schools in every corner of the kingdom and ensured that all children, regardless of their background, had access to quality education. Additionally, he invited wise men and scholars from distant lands to share their knowledge with his people. One of Alaric's most beloved initiatives was the creation of the Gardens of Wisdom, a place where people could gather to learn and share ideas. The gardens were filled with books, musical instruments, and spaces for reflection. Every week, Alaric organized debates and talks where important topics were discussed, and solutions to the kingdom's problems were sought. Despite his success, Alaric never forgot his roots. He often disguised himself as a peasant and traveled the kingdom to learn firsthand about his people's needs. These visits allowed him to better understand the challenges his subjects faced and gave him ideas for new policies and projects. One particularly harsh winter, the Kingdom of Harmony was hit by a snowstorm that left many villages isolated and without supplies. Alaric, once again demonstrating his leadership, organized a rescue operation. With the help of his knights and volunteers, he managed to deliver food and medicine to the affected villages, saving many lives. Alaric's reign was long and prosperous. Under his leadership, Harmony became an example of justice and compassion. kings from other realms came to learn from his methods and seek his advice. Alaric always welcomed them with open arms, generously sharing his knowledge. Alaric lived to an old age, and when it was time to pass the throne to his son, the people of Harmony gathered to pay tribute to him. In an emotional ceremony, Alaric thanked his people for their support and reminded them that the true strength of a kingdom lies in the kindness and unity of its people. Alaric's legacy endured long after his death. His son, following in his footsteps, continued to rule with justice and compassion. The story of Alaric the Good King became a legend told from generation to generation, inspiring many to be better leaders and people. In a distant kingdom during the medieval era, there lived a wizard named Alaric. Alaric was not an ordinary wizard. He possessed a deep knowledge of the dark arts and a special connection with the forces of nature. His tower, situated atop a hill, was surrounded by mysteries and legends that spoke of his power and wisdom. From a young age, Alaric had shown an exceptional talent for magic. His master, the great wizard Eldric, had taught him the secrets of spells and potions. However, Alaric had always felt an attraction to dark magic, a power that few dared to explore. Over time, he became the most powerful wizard in the kingdom, but also the most feared. One day, King Cedric summoned Alaric to his castle. The kingdom was being threatened by a dragon that had awakened from its long slumber and was wreaking havoc on nearby villages. The king, desperate, sought Alaric's help to defeat the beast. Alaric, seeing an opportunity to prove his power, accepted the challenge. Alaric prepared for the battle with the dragon. He spent days in his tower, studying ancient grimoires and preparing powerful spells. Finally, the day came to face the creature. With his staff in hand and his cloak billowing in the wind, Alaric headed to the place where the dragon had last been seen. The confrontation was epic. The dragon, with its gleaming scales and fiery breath, was an unstoppable force. But Alaric, with his dark magic, managed to contain the beast. He used containment spells and pure energy attacks to weaken the dragon. After a fierce battle, Alaric managed to imprison the dragon in a magical prison, thus saving the kingdom. King Cedric, grateful, offered Alaric riches and lands, but the wizard declined the rewards. "My duty is to protect this kingdom, not to seek riches," Alaric said humbly. However, the victory over the dragon did not go unnoticed. Alaric's fame grew, and many came to seek his help and advice. Despite his power and renown, Alaric led a solitary life. He spent his days studying and perfecting his magic, always in search of new knowledge. One day, while exploring an enchanted forest, he found an ancient temple dedicated to the goddess of wisdom. Inside the temple, he discovered a book of forgotten spells that contained secrets even he did not know. With the new knowledge acquired, Alaric became an even more powerful wizard. However, he also understood that power must be used responsibly. He decided to dedicate his life to teaching other young wizards, passing on his knowledge and warning them about the dangers of dark magic. Alaric founded a school of magic in his tower, where young apprentices came from all over the kingdom to study under his tutelage. He taught not only spells and potions, but also the importance of ethics and responsibility in the use of magic. Under his guidance, many talented wizards emerged, carrying forward his legacy. Over time, Alaric became a legendary figure. His name was synonymous with wisdom and power, and his story was told throughout the kingdom. Although he had explored the depths of dark magic, he had found the light in teaching and guiding new generations. Alaric lived a long life, always dedicated to his mission of protecting and educating. His tower, once a place of mystery and fear, became a beacon of knowledge and hope. And so, the Wizard of Shadows left an indelible mark on the kingdom's history, remembered for his bravery, wisdom, and dedication. In the heart of New York, amidst the skyscrapers and the city's hustle and bustle, lived a woman named Isabella. Isabella was not an ordinary New Yorker. She was a treasure hunter. From a young age, she had developed a passion for history and hidden mysteries. Her grandfather, a renowned archaeologist, had told her fascinating stories about lost treasures and ancient civilizations, which sparked in her an insatiable desire to uncover the unknown. Isabella worked as a historian in a museum during the day, but at night she became a treasure hunter. Her apartment was filled with old maps, dusty books, and curious artifacts she had collected on her adventures. One day, while reviewing some ancient documents at the museum, she found a clue that would change her life forever. A map indicating the location of a hidden treasure in New York. The map, which seemed to be centuries old, showed an intricate labyrinth of underground tunnels stretching beneath the city. Excited by the discovery, Isabella decided to follow the clue. She knew it wouldn't be an easy task, but her determination and love for adventure drove her to continue. Isabella began her search in the museum's basement, where she found a secret entrance to the tunnels. Armed with a flashlight, a backpack full of supplies, and her trusty notebook, she ventured into the darkness. The tunnels were narrow and labyrinthine, and each step brought her closer to her goal. During her exploration, Isabella encountered several obstacles. At one point, she came across a rusty iron door blocking her path. With patience and skill, she managed to open it using an old key she had found in one of the tunnels. On the other side of the door, she discovered a chamber filled with ancient artifacts and forgotten relics. While examining the objects, Isabella found a diary belonging to a 19th century explorer. The diary contained details about the treasure and warnings about the dangers lurking in the tunnels. Undeterred, Isabella continued her search, guided by the diary's clues. After hours of exploration, Isabella reached a large, dark room. In the center of the room was an ancient chest covered in dust. With her heart pounding, she approached the chest and carefully opened it. Inside, she found dazzling jewels, gold coins, and ancient scrolls. But the most valuable item was a medallion that, according to the diary, had the power to reveal hidden secrets. Amazed by her find, Isabella decided to take the medallion to the museum for further study. She knew her discovery was not just a material treasure, but also an important piece of history. Upon returning to the surface, Isabella was greeted as a heroine. Her colleagues at the museum were astonished by her bravery and determination. Over time, Isabella became a legendary figure in the world of archaeology and history. Her discoveries helped unravel many mysteries of the past and preserve humanity's cultural heritage. But for Isabella, the most important thing was the thrill of the hunt and the satisfaction of uncovering the unknown.
Espero de todo corazón que esta clase te haya gustado. Si es así, regálame un like y suscríbete al canal, que en verdad me ayudarías bastante. Y para todos los estudiantes que se quedaron hasta el final, les tengo un regalo. Debajo de este video encontrarán una clase de inglés desde cero totalmente gratuita. El link para esta clase estará en la descripción del video o en el comentario fijado. También te recomiendo que veas este otro video donde aprenderás inglés con una historia muy interesante, súper divertida. Entonces te espero ahí, no te lo puedes perder.